following up from last week's big story for us, which was the Switch OLED model and the lack thereof of the Switch Pro, we had almost an immediate follow-up, a layup from Valve, if you will. John, tell me about the Steam Deck, because I slept through this announcement.
Oh, did you? Okay, yeah. Well, guess what, everyone? The Switch Pro exists. Only Steam made it. That's literally what it is. This bad boy is... You want your Steam games on the go. That's what everyone's been wanting. Steam games on the go. Well, Steam has made the Steam Deck, and that's pretty much what it is. It is a little PC that is connected to controllers. It looks like a Switch, but it kicks the Switch ass in practically every single way. And I'm talking about horsepower. I'm talking about RAM. I'm mostly talking about screen. At least it does 60 frames. It is ready to go, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's got more memory, guys. A lot more memory, depending on what you want to pay. The only thing it doesn't have in box is a dock. But guess what? You can use any dock you want to connect it to a TV or a screen and play games with keyboard and mouse. It is absolutely fantastic. I dig this thing. I'm excited about this thing. It is apparently, and I'm saying it this way, apparently coming out in December 2021, so the end of this year. You will have full access to your Steam library. If you want, you can actually download. This thing has Windows on it. Well, it's Linux, but a Windows style concept, and you can download any other launcher. So you want to put on Epic, play your Fortnites, kids? You can do that. You want to go on itch.io and find indie games? Because God knows here at Playhouse, we love our indie games. You can do that. You want to try and run Call of Duty on it? Sure. Try that one. I don't know. It's really insane how much Steam has, like, just go. Have fun with it. We're not going to lock you to anything. Like, it comes with a Steam OS, updated Steam OS, that is based off of Linux, but if you want to wipe the stupid thing and put Windows on it, you're more than welcome to do it. It is one of the more impressive pieces of tech I have seen in quite a long time. I'm pretty excited about it. I pre-ordered one along with the Switch LED or OLED, the SOLED. So it's so interesting that everyone's complaining. I don't want to say complain. Everyone wanted the Switch Pro. We got hyped up about this. We only got the Switch OLED, and now here is this Steam Deck that just was like, hey, here's what you wanted. The only thing it doesn't have is Nintendo first-party games.
Mm-hmm. Certainly the best hardware pitch by Valve I've ever seen.
Yes.
The only other one that comes close is the Valve Index, and I believe that suffered because, while it is the industry standard for like high-spec VR headsets, drastically expensive. This one luckily comes with a slew of pricey models. They have the entry-level $399 one, all the way up to $650 if you want it. Basically, the only difference there is the storage, how much internal storage it comes from, but all three come with little SD slots to expand your storage if you want to. Very, very good sell. I mentioned that I slept through this announcement. I was very confused when I woke up, John, because the last thing I read before I went to sleep was that Elgato were holding an event that day. And so I went to sleep, and I woke up, and my eyes were all squinty, and I didn't know what was going on, and I read the headline that the Stream Deck was coming.
And the Stream Deck V2 is out.
Yes, and I saw the Steam Deck, the Switch-looking thing, and I was like, why would they have it handheld? What purpose does that serve? Does it play a game? And I read, I was like, oh no, the Steam Deck, which is, again, confusing because they did actually announce the Stream Deck at the Elgato thing. Yeah. Doesn't matter. The point is that I feel like this is a really, really good sell. It's amazing how, like 10 years ago, any hardware out of the big three, outside of the big three, would be just instantly panned because it doesn't serve a space in here, like Steam boxes and like Atari boxes and stuff. But we've had two, possibly three if you're optimistic, but two at least new hardware pitches for enthusiasts that are really, really solid sells. And that is the Playdate and the Steam Deck. I keep wanting to call it the Steam Pal because that was the code name for it.
The Gabe Boy. Everyone's on the internet is calling it the Gabe Boy, and I kind of like that actually.
Gabe Gear. The Sega Gabe Gear.
Oh, Gabe Gear.
Yeah, it's a good one, right?
Oh, I like it. Oh, all right. Officially, Playhouse is calling it the Gabe Gear.
Can't take credit for that one. I thought I saw it on Twitter earlier, but anyway.
Oh man, that's great.
It just makes sense. It just doesn't confuse people. You get what it is. It's a Switch, but it's Steam. Everything's in the right places. The touchpads are still a little weird, but I bet once I get my hands on them, they might make a little bit more sense. You picked one up, I believe.
Inline... What?
You picked one of these up, I believe, or at least reserved your slot to pick one up.
Yeah, I reserved my slot. I am getting the middle tier, so I'm getting a 250 gig solid state drive one. It just made too much sense. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I love my Switch. I 100% love my Switch, and I've always said, like, Nintendo first party and indie games. Well, guess what? Indie games go on sale a lot more on Steam, and now I can play that bad boy in bed. You know what? I'm really excited to play Honey Pop 2 in bed on my Steam Deck. I'm not even lying to you. That brings me so much joy to do that. So I don't have to sit here at this computer.
That's a hell of a thing to admit publicly on the internet, but I respect you, sir.
I'm with you. Like, looking at this thing, I find it weird that everything's inline. You got the D-pad right next to the joystick. On the right side, you got the joystick and the buttons. But what I've read with everyone who's actually had hands-on this bad boy, it is so ergonomically nice that everything makes sense. And I can get behind that. Like, is it a little overkill? Possibly. Especially since I just said I'm going to play a lot of indie games on it. But still, to be able to play Control on the hardware, because I know you play Control streaming on the Switch, and apparently not the best experience.
Oh, no, it was the best experience. It was really nice.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was really... Okay. I was super impressed by Control on the Switch. That was a demo, to be fair. Didn't play through the whole game, played through about the first hour. But that was a pretty decent experience, to be fair now.
Okay. All right. But yeah, it's just like the amount of things you have open to you. So it's kind of one of those weird catch-22s. You have all of Steam, or you can have the Nintendo first parties. And let's not poo-poo Nintendo first parties. We know how good they are. Yeah. They sell consoles. The Switch will see an uptick in console sales, even more so than they already are, because they're still the best-selling console. NBC came out yesterday or 2 days ago. Still the best-selling console in units. But when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, we'll see an uptick. When Splatoon 3 comes out, we will see an uptick. So it depends on how the Steam Deck is going to get marketed and why you, normal people, the people who don't understand gaming, why you actually need it. Not me, an idiot on the internet who just likes really interesting tech.
Yeah. For me, I believe this will fill the hole of the Switch Pro left by Nintendo for a lot of people. For me, it personally doesn't. That's because I have a very specific use case that the reason I wanted the Switch Pro is specifically for what it would mean for the software, because I primarily, I'm one of those weird people that plays the Switch docked almost all the time. I hardly ever take it out for handheld purposes. And so I was excited at the prospect of 4K or 60 FPS or both Zelda and Pokemon and all these different things. I wanted it for the first party. Sadly, we're not getting that. But looking at the Steam Deck, I don't think I'll get one, at least not at the start. Because, like I said, I play mostly docked. Handheld gaming isn't really my thing. So if I'm going to pay this much money, I would just upgrade my PC. But for a lot of people, I think this is going really well. And almost something that could tempt me. Again, I love how many options there are. You know, they're philosophy-wise, they're treating this like a PC. You can just wipe the software that comes with it, reinstall fresh boot of Windows, which I'd be interested in doing purely because it means I would have handheld Game Pass for the first time, which would be super nice.
That's what I'm actually considering. I like the idea of Linux, and it's Linux Proton, if I remember correctly, which Proton works for most games on Steam. It's still up in the air on if it actually works with Game Pass.
Right.
So
that was
if
the
it
thing.
doesn't, I might actually do that. I might actually wipe it, put a fresh install of Windows just so I can do Game Pass.
Yeah. It would be something I'd have to see how it goes first, because I wouldn't, obviously this is Linux by design, and it's designed to be best for the system.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that alarmed me at the start when they said it was Linux, is because I know for a long time, traditionally, Windows, everything worked on Steam. Mac and Linux was sort of up in the air, but it's mostly better now. I don't know what stage they're at. You've lost your audio. How has that happened? It's every week with this guy. God damn it. Rose, can you hear me? Are you there to talk to me and keep me coming?
Are we still live?
We are still live. Oh my god.
You're frozen. Finn is frozen.
Do I have to text this guy now? Oh my god. Your PC crashed, John.
Finn, I can see Finn now.
Yeah, hello. Do you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Every week with this guy. What happened?
Well, all of a sudden, like, you're talking and then you freeze. Rose freezes, and I'm just like,
John, it was weird. The moment we start talking shit about Linux, like, everything crashes. And so I feel like we angered someone higher up than us.
You were going, like, because I'll be honest, I like Linux. Actually, I got bored one day and I installed Linux onto an old laptop. And I was going to, like, Linux is actually really fun. You get to break into it and you get to do all sorts of fun stuff. And you're like, here's Linux. And I was like, oh God, we're dead.
For sure.
Holy shit. But I agree. The Linux thing, if it doesn't run right, that's cool. I'm trying to figure out if this puts pressure on Nintendo. And I say that kind of chuckling in the back of my head going, no one puts pressure on Nintendo.
No, not a chance. No one puts pressure on Nintendo, but I do think, again, this was a missed opportunity. This was a big blunder by Nintendo. If last week we were talking about the Switch Pro, the Steam Deck would be dead in the water because everyone would have already pre-ordered the Switch Pros by this point. I feel like they did miss a huge segment of the market that was ready for the next phase. I think the reason Nintendo obviously didn't was that they wanted to draw the line in the sand. They were like, no, we are not splitting up our user base. We want the Switch to be, again, same thing with Netflix. We want it to be simple. We want you to understand this whole platform. We don't want, inferior experiences on one. We don't have to design Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 for God knows how many systems at this point. But I feel like they missed out because of that. And whether Nintendo care, I don't know. All I'm saying is I certainly wanted my 4K Switch. I'm still not getting it. So I guess the next big thing is upgrade my PC. Except I can't upgrade my PC because all the graphics cards have melted in a volcano.
Cannot get anything out of that one, and it sucks. All right, okay, before, I know we're about to move on, do you believe we are going to get a Switch Pro next year?
No. I believe that now that the Switch Pro rumor is squashed and dead, we are that much closer to whatever Nintendo do next, their next gen, if you will. I thought that would have been further out if the Switch Pro had been announced. Would have added easily 3 or 4 years to this life cycle of this system, but I think we are about 2-3 years away, max, from the next Nintendo thing. Whatever that looks like. Do you know what? If we're speculating, I would say that the next big thing is a console, and the Switch will continue to live on.
Do you think they're actually going to break them back apart?
Yeah, I feel like for people like me who, again, play mostly docked, they will have the heavyweight 4K beefy boy that is console only, and they will have the Switch, which will continue to be the hybrid, but lightweight underpowered. That's what I would guess.
And the only reason I'm going to completely disagree with you is because they brought both of the handheld and home console, the console, both the manufacturers, both the developers together, and that's how we got the Switch. That's why I think, like, we've got the Switch Lite, we've got the normal Switch, the Switch OLED. Every single week, I'm going to say we're going to get a docked version with a GPU and a CPU that can output all that stuff. Right. Because there's no need. 60 frames per second on a Switch, sure, yeah, I think that would have been really, really nice. But there's no need to have that all internally on a Switch when you don't actually need it. If you want it, you can buy it and it'll output for you on a TV because that's where it belongs. Yeah. But to have 4K on a phone, I mean, yeah, I've got a Galaxy S21 Ultra. I've got 4K. I've got 120 frames. It's nice, but come on, I'm going to play the shit out of Breath of the Wild 2 on a TV, and I want to see it at least in 60.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even with the Steam Deck, it's still 720p because that's all you need on a 7-inch screen. But yeah. I would have liked a nice docked 60 FPS experience, but we'll see how that goes.